Hello, everyone, and welcome to No BS Small Business Marketing. I am your host, Jarrod Cash, and this is episode number 2. Now, before I get started, there are a couple things I'd like to get out of the way first. Number 1 being, if you haven't yet listened to The Foundation, that's episode number 1 of this podcast, you need to stop this recording and go back to that one. It has vital information that from things that we talk about here on this episode and forward, they're not going to make sense if you haven't heard that one yet. Now, that one's about 30 minutes long, which is a little bit longer than we're typically going to be running here, but vital information you've got to hear. Secondly, I want to remind everybody listening that I do not sell advertising. I help people make intelligent, informed decisions about marketing and advertising. So I'm not telling you something so that I make a profit. I'm giving you information so that you can take that info, use it in your business so that you can make a profit with it. So with that out of the way, let's get started here with episode number 2, which is called BS You Have Been Told or Believe. And that is obviously about some marketing and advertising. Now, we've all heard things about marketing and advertising that simply aren't true. And the reason that we've heard these are myriad. Number 1 being is that for some reason, most everyone thinks that they know how to market and advertise things. I think it's because there's so many commercials on TV and there's so much advertising that's thrown out. It just becomes one of those things that folks think that they know something about because they've seen a lot of it. Now, I hate to burst anybody's bubble, but the truth is, no, you don't know anything about advertising and marketing, be it your business or be it anybody else's. And that's not an insult. And the things that you think you know, they're very likely wrong. And so the key here is not to get butthurt about what I just said, not to let your ego get twisted. The key is to just admit it. Why would you? There's no shame in not knowing something about advertising and marketing. Why on earth would you? You're busy running your business. I'm presuming that you're an expert in whatever it is your business happens to be. And you're busy running that business. You're busy doing the day-to-day requirements of being an entrepreneur and a business owner in whatever field that you've chosen. So there's really no way that you could put in the time and the effort that's required to become an expert in marketing and advertising anybody's business, let alone your own. And the second thing to remember along this line of thinking is that you're not your customer either. So it doesn't matter if you look at some advertising and marketing and you don't like it or you don't think it's going to work. It's another place where you've got to put your ego aside and recognize that you're not your customer. And that's not an insult either. You're a small business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You're a risk taker. You're somebody out there hustling and making your own way. The vast majority of people don't do that. The vast majority of people go get a job, they get some security, and they go to work, and they make a budget, and they know what they're going to make, and that's what they're going to make, and that's how they live their life. They have different buying decisions and reasons than you do. And things are going to appeal to them differently than appeal to you. So get that out of your head, that you're not your customer, and that you know something about marketing and advertising your business. Give yourself the advantage of having a blank slate and just turn the ego off a little bit. And you're going to see a lot of benefits from that. So let's move on to BS number 2, which is I should advertise like everybody else in my industry does. Excuse me, folks, I'm going to have to get a drink from time to time. As you remember, I'm coming to you from Las Vegas. It is the middle of summertime out here in the desert, and I just require some hydration. So BS number 2, I should advertise like everybody else in my industry does. Now, since in episode 1, we talked a little bit about my father's auto repair shop and the experiences that we had there. Let's just go back to that. But this is not a unique experience. This is what everybody does. It's likely what you did. But you say you're going to open up an auto repair shop. Well, who typically does that? Typically, it's an auto mechanic, right? This had some success. He's pretty good. Decides he's good enough to open up his own business. He eventually gets there. He does that. Then he decides it's time to advertise. So he or she takes a look at what everybody else, all the other shops in the area are doing. Well, What do their ads look like? What does their website look like? What does their Facebook page look like? What do they tweet about? Etc., etc. Now, my old mentor, Dan Kennedy, he called this phenomenon marketing incest. And it's a very, very good description of that. Because what you have, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see a little a graphic of a bunch of people standing in a circle staring at each other. And that's what happens. You have everybody that's inside of an industry staring around and looking at what everybody else in that industry is doing, and they're simply copying it, and at the best, maybe making a minor tweak or minor adjustment, thinking they know how to do it better. And just like incest in the real world, each generation gets dumber and dumber afterwards. The ads get worse, not better. So, one thing that you definitely don't want to do is advertise like everybody else in your industry does. And this goes back to what we discussed in episode number 1, which is be very, very careful of who's advertising you're copying. So let's move on to BS number 3. The third thing that we've just got to clear out of your head, and that is the notion of getting your name out there. Undoubtedly, you have heard this. Well, you just got to get your name out there. Now, there's a lot of different ways that this phrase gets used. The first one is a top-of-mind awareness myth. Okay? Top-of-mind awareness being, well, if they see you enough and see your ad enough, they begin to associate your ad with their need. When their need pops up, you're going to be the first one they think of because they saw your ad 567 times. Oh, as mentioned in episode number 1, that's bullshit. Why is it bullshit? I can prove it's bullshit right now. It's bullshit because the average person in this country sees 5,000 or more advertisements each and every day. You are not going to get top-of-mind awareness for anything unless you've got an unlimited ad budget. I seriously doubt if you're listening to this show, you've got an unlimited ad budget. That's not in the realm of small business and entrepreneurs, especially in the beginning. And I would argue if you do have an unlimited ad budget, you're really, really wasting your friggin' money on some traditional advertising. So, the second time that we kind of hear this phrase, I just gotta get my name out there, is kind of like a networking excuse. So, let's say you've got a small business owner who goes on meetup.com, they find their local networking events, they take their business cards and they take their brochures and they go out to a couple meetup groups and they go around and they make sure they do the business card exchange, they talk to everybody they can, they make sure they hand out all the cards, they do that for a couple weeks and the phone is just not ringing. Now the phone's not ringing very likely due to the marketing kind of sucks. But we'll get into that in later episodes. But the phone's not ringing. So what do you say? What does this person say to themselves? Well, at least I'm getting my name out there, right? It's an excuse to kind of make you feel better about the fact that your advertising isn't working. You're doing the mythical getting your name out there. It's an ad agency favorite, kind of like, as I mentioned, with the top-of-mind awareness myth that you'll be sold when your ads aren't working and you call up the ad agency that you've hired or the copywriter or whoever it is that's doing the ad for you. They tell you, oh, well, there's a lot of advertisements out in the world. You just got to run yours. Used to be back in the day, they would tell you 21 times. You got to run an ad 21 times before it's going to stick in someone's mind. I cry BS on all of this for the aforementioned reasons that are littered throughout episode number 1. The third or fourth way that we kind of see, quote unquote, getting your name out there is getting merchandise with your name on it. And I'm telling you right now, in 99.999% of cases, that is just simply a waste of your money. You handing out pens that say, Trinity Hair Salon, Nobody is coming to you and getting their hair done because they got a pen with your name on it. It's not happening. Nobody is going to your place of business because you gave them a notepad with your name on the top of it, or a Frisbee, or God forbid you bought shirts and put your logo on it and tried to sell them off of a website, which, again, in the vast majority of cases, is a humongous waste of money and time. I mean, what do you want to be in the clothing industry now? I mean, as business owners and entrepreneurs, we tend to fall in love with our logos and our slogans, and we think everybody thinks this is the coolest thing they've ever seen. But the fact of the matter is, your customers don't care. They're not doing business with you for your logo. They're sure not going to buy that shirt with your logo on it. And again, this is in the vast majority of cases. There's always exceptions to rules, but you're probably not the exception to the rule. So let's move on to BS number 4 of 5 that we're going to kind of clear out of everybody's minds today. And that BS is advertising is expensive, or too expensive, or I can't afford it. Advertising is a waste of time. We've all heard a variation on this. And let's set a caveat here. Advertising is expensive. If you're doing shit that doesn't work, right? Waste of money. Might as well set it on fire. If you're a small business owner and you're out there dumping your money and trying to create some brand, I mean, you give the same money to the homeless and at least you're going to feel better about it, because you're not going to create a brand. And yeah, you're going to waste money if your advertising doesn't work. However, as we mentioned in episode number 1, which is the whole beautiful thing about direct response advertising, is that it provides you with a trackable investment. It gives you a return. You can measure the amount of money out versus the amount of money in from each and every piece. I don't mean hypothetical, well, we ran some spots on TV and then sales for the quarter went up or down, or whatever kind of crap that you really can't prove was tied into the ad. No, I'm talking direct response. You can prove it. You know exactly that, hey, I spent $1 on this advertising and it brought me $2 back, or it brought me 10 cents back, or it brought me $1 back. So a big secret to the success with direct response is that it allows you to test small first. You can take a small marketing campaign and you can take it to a small segment of your target market or your list or whatever it is that you're working with and roll it out and measure the results. And if you're getting killer results, then you explode that mother all over the place. And if it sucks and it sinks, you thank God the direct response allows you to test small, and you go back and you adjust and you make tweaks and you find out what it is until you get a winner. Okay? And then when you have that winner, and this is the other beautiful thing about direct response in your business, when you have that winner, then you've got a frigging asset. You've got an asset in your business. You know that, hey, I can roll this ad out to this market, to my list, to my customers, and I know that for every $1 I spend on this ad, I'm getting $1.50 back. That is a huge advantage. It's a massive advantage. While everybody else in your industry is running around trying to create a brand and flushing their money down the toilet. Now let's move on to number 5, which is the final in our list of BS today that we got to kind of clear out of everybody's head. Excuse me a second, folks. Got to get a drink of some water here. The Vegas heat out here in the summertime is fierce. All right, so number 5 is all I need is a good product or service at a good price. That's going to give me all the success I want. I'm sure that we've all either thought this or you've heard this at some point or another. Now, if you're watching on YouTube at the moment, you'll see on your screen a quote from Henry David Thoreau, who lived from 1817 to 1862, which is a little bit of time ago, wouldn't you say? And it's a quote we've all heard or heard some variation of. It says, "Build a better mousetrap, and the world will beat a path to your door." Build a better mousetrap, and the world will beat a path to your door. So all you need is a better product, and it's going to sell itself. Man, I wish that was the case. Maybe it was in 1850. There wasn't a whole lot of good products at that time. When Henry David Thoreau made that statement, there was nowhere near the amount of commerce that we have today. It's pretty self-evident. It doesn't work in today's society. And if you think about it, you know that already. Let's look at some examples. Let's take big examples everybody can identify with. McDonald's. Is that a good product? Do they give you good service when you go there? I don't even know if it's a good price. I don't eat that crap. Haven't from since I was a kid. You know why? Because it's poison and it tastes like garbage. That is not a good hamburger. That's not a good product at a good price. It's a crappy product at a cheap price. Okay? How about Domino's Pizza? Is that a good product at a good price, delivering you good service? No, I would argue that it's not. Now, some people, they love McDonald's. Obviously, they think it's the best thing in the world. But I don't think any of them, I don't care if you love it. I don't care if you eat McDonald's once a week. You're not going to tell me that's the best burger you've ever had. You might like it, but that is not the best burger. It's not even close. Okay? Same with Domino's. I used to live in New York City. Oh, man, you want to talk about good pizza? I had no idea until I moved out there. The pizza is the bomb. Every cliche you've ever heard about New York pizza, yeah, that's true like times 10. And you live out there and you get used to it. And then after that, I moved back to the Midwest to this little town in Idaho, and I'm stuck getting Domino's, and that crap tasted like cardboard. Domino's sucks, but they're successful. So it's not about a good product. It's not about a good service. It's not about a good price. So what do they do? What the hell does McDonald's do? What is it? What does Domino's do? Why are they able to sell what is essentially crappy food over and over and over again to people? Well, you know what I'm going to say. You know the answer. It's marketing. Okay? It's marketing and it's advertising. Now, McDonald's, we could talk all day about their marketing, but they're pretty smart when they go after the children. You know, McDonald's has become a place where you bring your little kids, and little kids don't have a palate, you know. And then they learn to like the McDonald's food, and you turn them into a customer for life. But that's neither here nor there. So what is advertising success about then? If it's not about having the best product or a good service at a good price, if you have all three of those things, that doesn't guarantee your success? We all know this. Man, in Colorado, there was a pizza place, you know, keeping on this theme of food. It was called Verenzano's. It was, it was like 2 blocks away from my condo at the time. It was so good. I had just gotten back from Idaho after being in New York, and I was missing that good pizza, and I found this place, and it was so good. And the best thing was, it was the exact same price. You could get a large 18-inch New York pizza for $9.99. $10.99 a pepperoni, get that sucker delivered. It was like $1 more than that crap from Domino's. Oh, man, that guy lasted about 6 months and went out of the business. You know why? Because he had no marketing. He had no advertising. He had no hope. He had no chance. Because what is advertising success about then? It's about a mixture of 3 things. You got to find the right people who want what it is that you've got. You've got to then get the right message to those people. And third, you've got to use the right media to best deliver that message. That mixture right there is what leads to advertising success. It is not about selling crap cheap. If you're in an industry that's not forcing you to have the cheapest price, we'll talk about that on another episode. If you're simply trying to compete if you're trying to compete with everybody else in your industry by just slashing your prices and knocking 20% off and putting stuff on sale, it's not about price. It does not have to be that way. That battle is reserved for people who don't know how to market themselves. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to get into that price battle. It sucks discounting your price in order to get customers in the door. If you're doing it, you don't have to keep it up. Stay tuned to this podcast, and that won't be you. All right, that brings us to the end of episode number 2. So I'd like to remind everybody that you can download the podcast or you can subscribe on iTunes and more if you go to jarrodcash.com. That's JARRODCASH. Or you can watch the videos and subscribe at youtube.com/JarrodCash. If you're watching on YouTube right now, do me a favor, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button if you like the video. You can hit me up in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. I can't make any promises on that. Same with comments on the podcast site itself. If you are subscribing on YouTube, be sure to hit that bell so you're notified when the next video comes out as well. So with that said, that's the end of episode number 2. Thank you for listening, everybody, and I'll see you on the next episode.